Hi. So today I thought it would be a great idea to talk about what Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is and all the secondary conditions that come with it and how it affects me. I did a day in my life in my last video, but I didn't touch on like what exactly my conditions were, because who needs that information? It's not like this is an informative channel or anything. Today I just thought it'd be a good idea to touch on that, so here we go. I just wanted to mention that there are people who have it way worse than I do and people that have a more mild case than I do, and that just goes along with the syndrome in general. Everyone's different. This video is not meant to be like, oh, feel bad for me, pity me. It's strictly just for awareness and what I go through, and hopefully other people, well, not hopefully, but other people can relate and maybe we can connect. It's a good way of reaching out, and I thought a YouTube channel was gonna be a good way for me to spread awareness, because that's how I inevitably found out, and that's how I found out about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So I thought I would kind of give back. This is my way of giving back, talking to myself. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is I can't stop coughing. So Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is, or EDS, is a connective tissue disorder. Usually it's genetic, not saying someone can't have a mutation and obtain this condition. So I've seen statistics go from, 1 in 50,000 people or 1 in 25 to 50,000 people have EDS. I've seen just 1 in 20,000 people have EDS, but now I'm hearing that it could be more people have it. It's just often misdiagnosed, or people think it's in, or doctors think that it's in someone's head. The symbol for EDS is stripes, and that's because a zebra, like the stripes on a zebra, is not gonna be the exact same to any other zebra. It's completely unique. Same with EDS symptoms. That's why it's often misdiagnosed or overlooked, because they're like, oh, this couldn't possibly be EDS because like that's rare. You don't have that. Who has that? No one. It causes people to dislocate, or sublux is a partial dislocation. You can have really pale or like translucent skin. You bruise really easily, and you're in constant pain. That sounds really sad, but it's true. I'm just gonna kind of describe the issues that I have that came along with EDS and how I got diagnosed with it. I've always had stomach issues my whole life. I've always like had these throwing up fits. Everyone was like, oh, it's just like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or she has food allergies, and they put me on all these diets, and I was like 5'2" and weighed 70 pounds because the diet made me very malnourished and unhealthy. It didn't fix anything. And what they found is, oh, she has EOE, which is, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm gonna pop it on the screen. I have that. That's a kind of a chronic thing, managed. It just means it's like inflammation of your esophagus, and it can be due to environmental allergies or food allergies, but they found out that it was more food allergy related, and they put me through all this testing, yada yada, whatever. That wasn't my issue. I mean, it was an issue, but like cause what I was going through, or nothing was helping. I kind of dealt with that my whole life. I am enrolled at Michigan State. When I was up there, I just happened to watch a video of a girl. I believe her name's Amy Fisher. I'll put her channel down below because she's the one that actually spread awareness, and I found it, and that's how I got my diagnosis, because I brought it up to my doctors. Saw this video by Amy Fisher that says why I have a feeding tube. First thing she mentioned was she had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. All she said, because she had other videos on it, was it causes me to be hypermobile amongst many other things, but one of the secondary things I have to it is gastroparesis. And as she was explaining her symptoms, like throwing up because of food and always being nauseous, and you're like up all night, and it's really hard to kind of fix. And we were on some of the same medication for like nausea and controlling like acid reflux and stuff. I called my dad and I was like, hey, have I ever been checked for gastroparesis? And he was like, no, I don't believe so. And I was like, well, maybe I should get checked for that. And he was like, yeah, maybe you should. When I was up at State, the weather was getting warmer, and I was playing frisbee and like soccer and basketball with like some of my friends out in just a little courtyard. And all of a sudden my knee really started to hurt, like really started to hurt. It's like came in these big flares, and I didn't know what was going on. So I went to a knee doctor. He said I don't see anything wrong in your x-ray. I don't think you need an MRI or anything, and I think it's bursitis. So here is, he put me on meloxicam, which is an anti-inflammatory, I believe, and that's supposed to like help the pain. It never really did, and I still have knee pain, and I still wear a knee brace. So when I went there, he was going through how flexible I was, how mobile my joints were. He was like, "Are you hypermobile?" And I was like, I don't know, because I never knew. He was like, "Show me something." And okay, I can do this with my elbows. And I went like that. Wow, really fun, really cool. Love that. And he was like, "Yeah, can I see your fingers?" And he like took my finger and just bent that boy back. And he was like, "Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to do that." He checked like my knee motion and like my hip motions, and he was like, "You're extremely flexible. You're really hypermobile." And I was like, "Oh, fun." And then I thought of that video I watched, and I was like, "Oh my God, she said she had a connective tissue disorder and that caused her to be hypermobile, and she had gastroparesis, and like maybe that's the answer to my stomach issues." So anyway, I started doing a lot of research. Here's where I'm gonna explain the issues that I have that do correlate with EDS, even though there are hundreds of things that correlate with EDS. So far, I had a diagnosis of bursitis, scoliosis, severe stomach pain, and like nausea, chronic headaches. At the time, I was passing out a lot, but I had the diagnosis of NCS, or neurocardiogenic syncope, instead of POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which I will get into. I had chronic pain just kind of everywhere, like joint pain. I was tested for RA, and no one knew. They were just like, "I don't know." And everyone kind of just said, "Oh, her pains." Even when I was younger, I used to like roll my ankles a lot, and I passed out a couple times when I was younger. And they were like, "It's just growing pains. She's just malnourished, and she has anxiety. It's all in her head," you know. Love that. I love when doctors just say it's in your head. So I brought it up to my parents and I said, "What about this?" And then we started finding out that on my mom's side of the family, there was a lot of people who had the same issues I did, but no one had a diagnosis ever of EDS. So I went to University of Michigan Medicine, or Michigan Medicine, to see a like EDS doctor. She's not like, you know, there's no such thing as an EDS doctor, but there's people that specialize in it. We discussed my symptoms and I sent over all my medical records, and she said, "I agree, I think you have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I want you to get tested for POTS as well." And I said, "Okay." So I walked to my neurologist, because I had a neurologist, and I said, "Hello, Esther, Ann," which is my EDS doctor, "would like me to get a tilt table test." And she said, "Okay." So I did the tilt table test, came back positive. I passed out during the test, and then I got the diagnosis. POTS, or postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, means I have an increase of heart rate and a decrease in my blood pressure when standing, or like rising or standing for too long. With me, when I did the tilt table test, my heart rate increased rather fast to 150 or like 152, which that's not the highest my heart rate has ever gone up, but it was high enough at that time to make me pass out. But they did not see a decrease in my blood pressure. They said, you know, it doesn't mean that blood pressure just dropped drastically when you passed out and we just missed it, but there wasn't even like a pattern of, oh, her blood pressure is slowly decreasing. There was none of that. So they categorize it as atypical POTS. It's been really bad recently. Like today I'm having a very bad day. Even just like sitting up is making me not feel great, not feel to swell. So my mom had to come home from work. I mean, she only works 10 minutes away, but she had to come home from work and make me food because I couldn't get up and make myself my own food. You want that too? Okay, actually this is a good example. I just had to get up to let my dogs out. Here's my oximeter. This is something I have with me pretty much all the time when I really feel my heart rate going. So I just had to stand up. Of course, it's taking a long time to read, so my heart rate's already gonna be coming back down. But okay, it's 117. That's lame. I thought it was gonna be much higher than that. It probably would have been if it would just read fast enough. But that moves me on to why I didn't read fast enough is because I have Raynaud's syndrome. Raynaud's syndrome is a circulatory issue that causes my hands and my feet, and I think it even can like affect your nose and your ears. Make my hands cold and turn blue and red and white. It's called like the patriotic syndrome or something because of red, white, and blue. My nails, they look fine right now, but my nails will get blue and or like from my first knuckle up will be blue, or my hands and all of a sudden will get red, or then they'll turn back to white, which is like normal. That's Raynaud syndrome. My feet, they always look dirty, and I'm always kind of self-conscious when people see me without socks on, because I swear I'm hygienic, you know, but my feet look dirty because they're always like blue. It can be very painful, especially in the winter. I remember being a little kid and playing with my friends out in the snow, and I could only be outside for like 20 minutes, and then I would start crying because it felt like knives were being shoved into my feet and hands. Raynaud syndrome also can go with EDS. POTS can go with EDS. You can have all these things separately. Just because you have one of these things does not mean you have EDS. If you're hypermobile, it also does not mean you have EDS. About 1 in 100 people are hypermobile, but the chances that you have EDS are greater if you don't have like any other symptoms. If you're just hypermobile, you're fine. Don't even stress, okay? Don't even worry about it. Back to gastroparesis. I do not have the diagnosis of gastroparesis yet, but I went to a doctor. Okay, and my skin just... Gastroparesis, or paralysis of the stomach, is, you know, when your stomach doesn't digest food properly and causes a lot of issues. People can get severe abdominal pain from it. People can get nauseous, throw up. It can be, people can have good days and bad days. It's been about, my whole life, pretty much, maybe since I was 5, that I've had like stomach issues. So for the past 14 years, no one has checked for this. And I finally went to a U of M doctor, and he said, I purely think this is a motility issue, and I think it's gastroparesis, especially because you have EDS. And I said, great. Well, not great, because I don't want my stomach to be paralyzed. But then it's an answer, and then there's things you can do to help. Even though there isn't like a cure, there's ways to manage. So because my neck just decided to, scream at me when I just went like this, that leads me to mast cell activation syndrome. That is... your body just reacts to anything, anytime it wants, and it says, you know what? I don't like lavender today, so I'm gonna break out in a rash, and you're gonna have to deal with it because I don't feel like dealing with lavender today. That's pretty much what it is, and it's an antihistamine problem, and it causes your body to break out in a bunch of rashes, and I've started to get that. But yeah, those are like kind of the main issues that I'm having, and again, I don't have all the diagnoses or diagnosi, I don't know. I don't have all the diagnoses. So I'm just gonna kind of scroll through what I have. I have, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, POTS, perhaps gastroparesis, maybe mast cell activation syndrome, bursitis, scoliosis, Raynaud's, GERD, EOE, chronic postnasal drip. That's just annoying. Let me show you some other things I can do bending wise, just for fun, just for kicks, even though I'm not supposed to. Elbows. Doing that's hypermobile. Being able to take your leg and put it over and behind your head. I'm not going to, because that will 100% sublux my hip. I don't know. I probably can do other things. I just can't think. I'm kind of out of breath. I don't feel good. It's a bad day. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative, and I hope this video isn't too long, but I just thought it would be good to put it out there, exactly what EDS is, exactly what other secondary conditions can come with it. Again, I did not touch on every single secondary condition or other conditions that can come with it. That's just like the conditions I have. I am going to Mayo Clinic in April to do, have an autonomic scan. Anyway, I hope you like this video, and I hope you're a little more informed, and if you have any questions, comment down below. And follow me on all my socials. It'll be in the description box, and at the end of my video, follow me on all my socials. They'll be in the description box and at the end of my video. And subscribe, like, comment, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you next week. Bye.